Hey guys, welcome back to the Midlife Awakening podcast. My name is Odilia and I'm your host. Today I'm joined by Leela Black. She is a business resonance guide who spent 9 years studying the I Ching, which is an ancient Chinese book of changes. And she used this as a foundation to create her own system called the Resonant Truth Archetypes. Leila has generated over $1 million in revenue by rejecting the inherited man-made rules of business and instead teaching women to trust their inner feminine knowing. In this episode, Leila and I talk about internalized misogyny, shame, her business rebirthing process, and what it really means to step into your feminine authority in your 40s and beyond. And as a special treat, Leila is giving me a live Resonant Truth Archetype reading right here on the show using nothing but my date of birth. Now, this episode is also a taste of something bigger. When season 4 of the Midlife Awakening kicks off in September this year, we'll be featuring practitioners like Leila demonstrating live readings on air. The type of readings we will be covering range from the I Ching, astrology, human design, ancestral healing, tarot, psychic mediumship, and so much more. Now, I wanted to create a space for you and these practitioners so you can hear exactly what these sessions feel like before you ever book one for yourself. If you're interested in taking part, then please email me on heal.yourlife@outlook.com and we can set that up. So let's get on with the show. Settle in, get comfortable, and let's get into the conversation with Leila Black. Welcome to the Midlife Awakening podcast. I'm your host, Odilia. This is a podcast about transformation for women who are waking up to who they really are while navigating everything that comes with midlife. And I want you to know I'm on this journey right alongside you. This is the show where we explore everything from the spiritual tools that can help us in our daily practices to healing modalities that we can use to heal what we've been carrying for so long, to the everyday midlife topics that a midlife woman faces, like perimenopause, finances, career changes, and so much more. Each week we go deeper into what it means to heal, to awaken, and to finally become the most authentic version of yourself. I'm so glad that you found your way here. Leela, thank you so much for joining us on the Midlife Awakening show today. I'm so excited to have you here and for the conversation that we're about to have. So start off with, why don't you describe yourself as a business resonance guide? Can you paint a picture for our listeners who don't know what that is and how you operate in the world?
Thank you, Odilia. It's so lovely to connect with you. And being a almost 43-year-old, our lives have gone through so much change. And what I find for women in business is that there is a long-term impact of hesitating and holding back. And what we're doing is we're really buffering to try and prevent the truth of who we are from having any sort of negative impact on anyone else. And what this does is it really minimizes our magnetism, it minimizes our potency, and it kind of stifles the innate purpose that we're here to bring forward. So I've studied the I Ching, the Chinese book of changes, for 9 years and developed my own system based on mentoring business clients, because every woman has an origin story that she kind of hides and conceals, whereas I've built a career on kind of bringing mine forward and inviting women to really own where they've come from. So resonance is all about making sure that people know that when we speak, we're telling the truth to ourselves and transmitting that, because a lot of the world of business is about representing ourselves, and with marketing, particularly bro marketing, it can be a misrepresentation or a lot of falsehood. So when we can sincerely speak from the truth of our being, I believe that we are the most magnetic, powerful people equipped to bring the change that we were born to usher in.
Amazing. I love that. That's so powerful, and I think that's much needed in the world right now, especially for women, because I think that's how we should be operating. Especially for our, from our divine feminine energy, not just, we're taking on this masculine mold, which it doesn't fit for us, really doesn't fit for us.
It stifles us. And, feminine business became something I started teaching 7 years ago, and really supporting women to lean into their true identity and reveal the magnificence and the brilliance within who they really are. But then obviously there is a fear around jealousy, competition, how that will be perceived. And when I come from a background of having an abusive family, so I was teased, I was shamed, I was ridiculed. And when we don't have a strategy to be able to deal with that with the public, I got my training in early. It's become my career to help women feel more bold and more strong and more secure in the truth of who they are, because we want to repel while we attract. And it will always have that polarizing impact when we are showing up in our truth.
Absolutely. And I just saw something. It's so funny. I saw something on Instagram, literally, I think a day ago, where it was someone was saying the exact same thing, is that you can't activate the gifts and blessings that are for you if you do not show up as your authentic self. If you're trying to be someone else or come across as someone else, you're not going to access those blessings or your true gifts. And I thought that really was like, wow. So you're living that work, really. Yeah.
Well, and it's only because I was so stifled that I've been in business for 17 years. And you will see, Odilia, that, 1 or 2 years into business, I would be so evolved and changed by witnessing my clients and their transformations that I would keep on having to upgrade my identity. I self-published 4 books in every 2 years for an 8-year period. And I would find this deep grief around shedding who I was and the success that I had known, and really permitting that next, more sincere, more vulnerable version to come forward, because it's always more exposing. We're always like, how's this going to go down? And every time I bring a new iteration forward, there'll be a falling away, and then there'll be a magnetizing. And so I've built a career off this, but that mechanism of holding the self while we allow other people to discern whether they resonate with us or not is like masterful self-holding. And needing to mother myself and adopt myself have been pivotal pillars that have allowed me to do this. And I love guiding women deeper into that, because if we can hold that space for our own sacred becoming, we can actually really fall into that easeful alignment of what we're here to bring.
So we're going to do something a little different today with the show. Leila's going to give me a reading. So what would you call this reading that you're about to do for me?
Yeah, this is a Resonant Truth Archetype reading, and this is derived from the ancient wisdom of the I Ching, the Chinese book of changes. And I've studied this over 9 years and realized that we live in a misogynistic world, a place that innately devalues the feminine. And this is my way of really studying patterns and profiles. I can look at someone's face and look at some of their identifying features and really confirm some of the easeful pathways for them to express who they really are and prosper on purpose. Because for me, that is the whole aim of the game, is that when we're doing what we're really called for and allowing ourselves to receive back for generously offering that, that's what allows us to give devotion to it. So yeah, a Resonant Truth Archetype reading today, Odilia.
Okay, great. And the reason I wanted to do this, and we'll be getting some more of this over the course of the season, is because I want women to have just a brief understanding of what goes on in these kinds of readings, because we might hear about astrology readings or truth resonance readings, but you don't really understand what it involves. And so that's what we're going to be doing, so that women can get an understanding of what they could get possibly from this reading. So yeah. And so all you would need is my date of birth, right? That's all you need.
Yes. So I've got that in front of me, your day, your month, and your year. And what we get to look at is, firstly, the type of personality that we're here to bring forward. And then we look at some of the challenges that show up when we're under stress and what our life path is. So I'm cross-referencing that information with your beautiful face, Odilia, and with this sacred season of your life, because in the I Ching, the wisdom is that during the decade of our 40s is a very yang expression time in our lives, when we are meant to take the wisdom and the accumulated learning and actually really bring it forward in the world. Our 50s is a time when there's more introverted introspection while still making a difference in the world. But then our 60s, we come back out again in full force. So we see some of those 60-year-olds really doing amazing things in the world. But in our 40s, this is our time to really bring something big and bold and powerful from the path that we've kind of been led down. So I feel really thankful for your trust, Odilia, and you don't know any of this information yet. So as we go through, I just want to check and see once again how it resonates. How does that reach you internally. And my readings are very much about confirmation. So the key for you is to not listen to my voice as much as your own inner voice. One of my roles in this world is to really confirm and amplify the knowing within women, this kind of feminine authority, I call it, or feminine power, to really trust our instincts over any external voice. So does that intention resonate for you, Odilia?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm really excited about this. Let's do it.
Well, let's begin with your beautiful personality. And this is the part that I love the most because it's who you came into the world as and who you will be throughout your whole life. So this information is one half of the gene key system and one half of human design. So anyone listening that's aware of those systems, that's astrology and I Ching, whereas I've just studied the I Ching very concentratedly, and I like it because it's simple. Whereas the other systems depend on what's happening in the stars, this has the continuity for your lifetime, Odilia. So the name of your archetype is the wise teacher. And the wise teacher archetype is somebody who is just so good at nurturing others. You're very perceptive of needs. You're very good at discerning what someone needs in that moment and miraculously find it within yourself every time. So wise teachers are the most impeccable nurturers because without anyone needing to verbally express what they require, you just know. So how does that resonate for you, Odilia?
Yeah, it really does, because I've had a very long corporate career and I've found that people always open up to me and have always resonated with me. And, it's even made me want to explore coaching, because I feel people have always felt really like. I was at work yesterday and met someone for the first time, and at lunch, he just completely opened up to me and was telling me his whole life story. And I was like, and he said to me, I'm just telling you so much. And I'm like, yeah, I'm used to this. This is what people do when they're around me. And I think it's very much that they feel safe to open up to me. Yeah.
Exactly, they do. And the other kind of fun surprise for us connecting for the first time is that this is the exact same archetype that I am as well. So I'm your sister wise teacher, and I have the exact same experience from a child. Adults would confide in me. I would be turned to for guidance as a 7, 10, 12 year old. And that was very normal for me because everyone kept doing it. Even when I would move, I would still have this experience of other people feeling like they can turn to me. And so there are challenges to this, of course, because when people are consulting us, we go, who do I go to? Like, who can I turn to? And the wise teacher archetype has a very special gift of having that deep inner wisdom, almost like the sage at the center of the mountain. And this archetype is always meant to rely on their own intuitive guidance. Now, that sounds nice, but sometimes we want a human. And so, Odilia, have you found yourself to be led by your intuition most of your life?
I actually haven't. So for a big portion of my life, I've had my intuition switched off,
Okay.
because I was, as a child growing up, I was told I'm too sensitive, I'm too emotional. You need to be harder, you need to be tougher. The world's a tough place. And so through that, I learned to switch it off. But since turning 40, I'm sort of tuning back into that, and I've really felt it sort of come to the fore in the last couple of months, like just listening and paying attention to it. And yeah, there is that deep. I literally just had a moment this morning where I was, my son's been having some issues with school, and in my head, because I get stuck in my head a lot, I'm like, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I do? And something just calmly came over me and said, you know what to do.
Mm.
You know what the answer is. I was like,
That's
yeah.
it. And it can be confronting, which is why sometimes this wise teacher archetype will take that polarizing path, either go with it or go against it. But ultimately, I've found people that switch, that go with it for a time and then go against it. And so I had my stage of going against it. During my teenage years, I really shut it down and actually developed a very severe eating disorder as a consequence. So the challenge of needing to solve a 10-year binge eating compulsive eating disorder, I had to accept my intuition which was what I was attempting to push down with food that I didn't have any awareness of, and that no one else knew that that was what I was doing. So ultimately, this voice, and so many people have benefited, Odilia, from your wise guidance. There is this juxtaposition of, how do I trust my own guidance, right? When I know what everyone else needs, there can be this barrier to really accepting the wisdom for ourselves, because our life is on the line. Like, suddenly it's not like we're sending people off with information and sometimes we don't know how it goes. In business, having clients rebook me and come back really validated. They were like, oh my gosh, that was the right sentence, the right guidance, the right step at the right time. And then that would cascade into a snowball. So one of the interesting paths for you, if we look at this beautiful life path that you've come in with, Odilia, is you're actually of what we call the elder archetype. So this is someone who just knew right from wrong from the very beginning, very discerning about who you could trust, who you could not trust. And this elder archetype is very confronting for people in positions of privilege and power and authority. So you can receive messaging in your life that you don't know what you're talking about. And this idea of being cut down is a very common theme for this archetype. Does that reach you at all, Odilia?
It does. It does. So growing up like yourself, I was always turned to for guidance from my parents, and but at the same time, they would never take the information that I've given them, and I'd be like, well, then why are you even asking me? Why even bother asking me? So a lot of my I do feel very unheard a lot of times, even though I do feel like I do have all this wisdom. Because when I do talk to people, it's like it just flows. I'm not even thinking about the answer. It just comes up.
Beautiful.
But people don't always hear it, I think.
And this is it. And very interestingly, with your archetype, is that is part of a rite of passage for you to really learn this idea of invalidating some of what we call wounded elders in the system. So people who look like they're meant to be stewards or adults or wise or guardians or guides, who sometimes are a little bit lost within themselves and don't have that ability to build up. So a big part of being an elder on your life path is building people up, turning them back to their own wisdom, turning them back to their own strengths, and just wanting to nurture that person to be a very strong. There's this idea of strength that is so important for you, with both being the wise teacher, that's the strongest of all 9 archetypes, and then your life path is about being a brave warrior or an elder, which is about really like having a stick that you hold down and you don't allow anyone to push you. So people will push you and have pushed you, and you will know that very well. And you're meant to hold your ground and allow yourself to see how right you are. How does that reach you, Odilia?
That does. I mean, I think before I hit my 40s, I very much was pushed around and big people pleaser and did what everybody wanted. But coming into my 40s, I had a very powerful experience with somatic breath work, tapped into my self-love, and from there was able to start putting in place boundaries. And so now I feel like I am that, like, you can't push against those boundaries. Yeah.
Amazing.
Definitely.
Well, I'm so proud of you. And self-love work is so powerful for your archetype and the idea of self-mothering. So you're actually one of the most powerful mothering archetypes. There's also a phrase called mother to many. So you just innately mother people and it's so effortless within you. But then the juxtaposition here is not having your own needs met, which is what makes you so impeccable at reaching other people's needs. And so this idea of self-mothering, and mine was a very literal self-adoption. I'm 7 years of no contact with my own birth mother as a self-preservation, self-protection mechanism. And for me, adopting myself, I stopped looking for mother outside of myself and really allowed myself. And a lot of the people in my world have either had a mother pass away early, a neglectful mother, an abusive mother, or somehow absent mother. And it's amazing how many people who are in the transformational arts, human potential, coaching and personal development arena who have actually had that beginning, because we have the contrast to know the value of mother's energy. And in particular, feminine energy, feminine power is completely your life path, Odilia.
Yeah, I definitely feel it. I do. I do feel like I'm a warrior for women. I don't know why I've always felt that way.
Amazing. Oh, it's so lovely to get to know you on this level. And there are a few beautiful features in your face that I'd love to point out. And if I touched on something that was challenging for you, is that okay for you, Adelia?
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'm going to move my eye from the camera and I'm going to look at your beautiful face. And when I look at your face, one of the things that stands out are these beautiful, big, full cheeks. And once again, this is mother energy. Anybody that we meet and see who has nice, big, full, round cheeks is very nurturing and kind. So if we see someone with quite a sallow face and like, their cheeks are gaunt and going in, do not ask them for help. They will not have the time of day for you. And so this is the way that your face is transmitting to other people. I have supply, I have nurture, I have compassion and acceptance. So this is you resonating in your truth, and other people are like, whoa, that is such a compassionate woman. By the way, here's my life story. Here is this beautiful, kind woman. Oh my gosh, this actually happened to me today.
Mm.
So people will use you as kind of this place where they confide. And this is about you really discerning when that is of best interest for you, right? Boundaries are one of the ways that you protect the sacredness of the wisdom that you have and make sure that people aren't taking without you allowing yourself to be replenished.
That's definitely a balance that I'm trying to get right.
Well, I'm just so glad that you know, because you're definitely in your power up era, which is what I love about the 40s. Like, I love that I'm going gray and I've got more wrinkles, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, like I'm ready for this time. And the next part of your face that I want to really draw beautiful attention to is this beautiful concave and beautiful rounding in your forehead. And this is actually indicative of what we call the intuitive innovator archetype. And this is someone who is very intuitive. And I've already mentioned you already have gifts through your other archetypes, which are around having that knowing and having that knowledge and wisdom. But this gift comes with a challenge, that there is a fear that we need to engage with. You will be very, very close with all of the different arrays of fears that you've had to face in your life. Fear of being on the outside, fear of being an outcast, fear of being different, fear of not fitting in. And when we start to learn that anybody with this beautiful curve who's listening now or sees this in another person, it is always going to be something that that person is going to be challenged by. Okay. And the gift that you get out of that is that you get to not be a part of the pack. You get to go your own way. You get to really craft a very authentic, individuated life because you can't fit in, Odilia. And how does that reach you when you hear me relay it?
Yeah, I mean that's spot on. I mean, my entire life I didn't feel like I fitted in. Various things through my childhood that we were we didn't fit into the culture that we were part of. We didn't fit the mold, so we were considered outside. And so I have felt like that my entire life. I don't think I've ever, only until now in my 40s, have I started to make really close friendships, because I've never really felt like I found my tribe, because I've
Yeah.
always felt like a little bit different, a little bit quirky. Nobody really gets me. So definitely. And I struggled with that for a very, very long time. But as I've come into my 40s and now, tapping into that self-love experience that I had, just really loving myself for who I am. I'm a really kind person. I'm generous. I'm loving. I may be
Mm,
quirky. I may be ditzy, but there's always a pure love intention behind everything that I do.
mm,
And really starting to, lean into that and loving myself for that and not worrying about whether I fit in or I don't fit in. So it's been a journey and I'm not there yet, but it's definitely, I'm more aware of it and more accepting of myself now. Yeah, definitely.
mm. Oh, well, I'm so proud of you. It's so beautiful to listen to what you've given yourself. And this is why I love this system so much, because when we can realize that some of the biggest challenges of our lives are kind of written in the pattern of the archetype that we're here to bring through. And I mean, they were so wise when they were discovering this system. It kind of came off from the acupuncture. branch of Chinese medicine, and they were really looking at how certain faces and people born at certain times had similar struggles for their health, but that they were indicative of personality traits. So for me, I studied so many personality profiling systems, but when I found this one, it really is this very succinct and simple way that you are really here to guide people. And in particular, one of your power-ups that I would love to offer, because for me, my intention within business is always to support women to amplify and open this portal of prosperity. Whatever amount we're receiving back, the more we can bring the truth of who we are forward, it will expand. And I know that, and I want that so deeply for other women, that your voice, Odilia, is one of the most powerful things about you. And I'm sure you've been told you have a beautiful voice, a voice that people love listening to, and no wonder you're leading this incredible podcast. But I want to encourage you to deepen in, because this call for tribe is the wise teacher archetype. There's a call for belonging and sisterhood and the strength of relying on people you can trust. But for you, you are here to sound the call for other people like you to gather around you. And so that means sometimes standing on your own in order to then welcome your community forward, which is a paradox, but all good things are. So I'm really here to encourage your voice, encourage your wisdom, and just encourage you to trust any hint of like, oh, do I go down there? Like, go with any good feeling and allow the action itself, if it feels not too risk adverse, to validate and confirm how right you are, Odilia.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, the voice is it's taken me a long time to feel comfortable with opening that up. So thank you. Yeah.
And that's so common, because this is your power. And the moment a woman edges towards her power, she is confronted. And that is what I love about my work, is there's some sort of permission slip that I've been given, emerging from my birth family. I have a world politics degree that I abandoned. I was studying to be a Japanese translator of all things. And now I really translate the truth of women so that they feel confirmed and assured and can move more boldly forward. So it's just incredible that you are so onto it. Okay, and huge congratulations for allowing your beautiful voice to emerge, and more, please.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Well, that's really good to know that, sometimes you just need, like, even though being the wise teacher, as you said, you just need that other human to validate that for you
So
to
true.
say, so it's really, and that's probably why I always spend my money on readings, psychic readings, astrology readings, because you just, like you said, you just need that other human being to just say, yes, you're on the right path. What you're thinking
Exactly.
is correct. Yeah. As you refine that intuition.
Yeah, and that confirmation really is what kills the hesitation and the holding back, because there's all of this resistance that all of us feel, whether we're in business or not, to bringing our truth forward. And that resistance is because a part of us knows how much better life is going to get. And when it's outside of our background experience, that's deeply frightening. My life is upgraded and expanded in so many ways, and my old version could never stand the beauty of the life that I have now. It's a conditioning process. But in my first book, I spoke about this idea of resistance as a shadow compass, that if there is something within us that goes, oh, you can't do that, I'm like, oh, yeah? So I would do the thing. Before I knew how to write, I just self-published a book. And then I was like, well, I've done it. And then I went on and I've written 5 books now. And this idea that this patriarchal, masculine oriented world, that you have to have someone teach you and train you, I'm like, absolutely not. Let's disintegrate that. Our children come in knowing. How do we confirm their knowing and instill that deep self-trust and confidence within themselves to listen to others, but not validate and authorize another voice above their own? That's my complete, intention and life mission, is how do we authorize our feminine knowing to chart our path? So for anyone who's like, oh, I shouldn't go here, I'm like, go there. Anything that voice is like, don't do that. If you do the thing, then you realize how right and good and powerful it is for you. But it takes a lot of navigating of that resistance to be able to find the beauty that life is meant to give to all of us. Prosperity isn't just for this certain, it's meant for every one of us. and I don't come from a wealthy background, and I was not around wealth. And so I always felt resistance to it. And the more I've allowed myself to receive, the more I've been able to give myself the life that I didn't know as a child. So it's never too late to have a happy childhood. And I'm a 43-year-old who's having the best time of my life, Odilia.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that reading. That was so special and so wonderful. Thank you.
Such a joy. Thank you for your trust,
Yes.
Odilia.
So if anybody would like to have a reading with Leela, you can find all the details will be in the show notes. So we're talking a lot about intuition and listening to that inner voice. Where would you say, so for women that have struggled for many, many years to tune into that, what's one thing that they can start doing every day just to start moving themselves closer towards listening to that voice and getting comfortable with it?
I think always following the choices where there's no risk. And so, sometimes when we talk about intuition, it's just like, marry the person, quit the job, start the business. And I go, absolutely not. I feel like women have already faced so many challenges in this life. I don't encourage anyone to leap, but it's like, do I wear this or that? Do I go this road or that road? Do I talk to this person at lunch or not? When we have these seemingly inconsequential choices and we're feeling to lean towards something, or, the niggle of, do I reach out to this person? Or when we feel it can be inconsequential, that is the best time, because life will confirm us. And for me, because I am like a recovering, deeply unmet child, I've had to build rapport with life itself as mother. So that might be a big idea for some people. I was 36 years in a Christian Orthodox religion, and now I pray to Mother, and I perceive life itself as a motherly force. So for me, it's listening to life and taking those small chances, and those small choices that I made when I was first cultivating this confirmed and opened up life, for me. And life just got better and better, and bounty and blessings and opportunity came to me beyond my ability to fathom and comprehend, which allowed me to, choose who to marry, and choose, to buy the house. We bought our own house by the mountain 2 years ago. And I had thousands and thousands of experiences trusting my intuition. So when I did come to make a big call, it was with the knowing. Okay. And so we want to go from hope and trust, and then knowing. And when a woman can move from knowing, that for me is this feminine authority, is that I know that's going to go well. And that for me has allowed me to survive a lot of very challenging obstacles and allow myself to protect and bless my children, which is the height, and then when I see all of my clients' lives just spiraling upwards and blessings and bounty, I just, am so grateful for opportunities like this to share this information, because we can catastrophize what can happen, but not when it comes down to choosing our outfit.
That's so true. That's so true. So can you walk us through what your business rebirthing process looks like for someone who comes to work with you?
Yeah, we have, once again, this holding back and hesitating. We do because it's an attempt at self-protection. And the challenge with protecting ourselves is that we end up concealing ourselves. And so we're kind of walking around like with this concealment. And the people that have spent a lot of time and are very close to us know that we're remarkable, know that we're magnificent, recognize their brilliance and appreciate it for us. That when it comes to business, our next level requires the next level of our truth. So whatever kind of attainment, arrival, accomplishment a woman has reached in her business, she'll just hit this ceiling where she'll be afraid of sharing that next level of her truth. And this is part of why I was writing, is that was my process, either photography or writing or some sort of a point of reflection, to be able to see, I'm not who I was anymore. I am going to hold this version and bring her forward. And every time I bring forward a new version, I'm absolutely terrified. Every time, like without a doubt. And that's how I know it's right. Because I know that feeling, as I spoke before about that shadow compass, is that when there's resistance, I go, And so the resistance, I've had to bring forward this Resonant Truth Archetype profile system. I've spent 9 years studying thousands of readings, thousands of hours of mentoring clients. I'm like, when I feel it, and the constriction and the pressure and the mental overwhelm, I'm like, yes, keep going. And so because I have so much experience with this myself and with other clients, I'm a very beautiful, comforting guide because whatever will be showing up for a woman, I can interpret that for her and support her to see more clearly. So not only are they having a beautiful rebirth process, but then they're equipped with the skill set to continue that journey. And that is probably the most precious part for me. If a woman can learn how to navigate shame, grief, and resistance, she has the privilege and the power of stepping into who she's meant to be in this world. And that, for me, I wrote in my diary 2 years ago, the most significant event in this life is to become who we truly are.
Absolutely. And I think shame is a big one for women. I think that
Oh
really is.
gosh.
That's a huge one
Yeah.
for women. I think
I have a
we're
lot to say
shamed
about
for
shame.
everything.
Can we go there, Odilia?
Yeah, let's
May
go
we?
there.
May we?
Yes.
I mentioned before that we live in this misogynistic, patriarchal culture. And I remember clients would say, well, I'm from India and that's just how it is in India. Or a client would say, well, I'm from the States. It's how it, and I'm just like, no. This is everyone. Absolutely everyone. And for me, shame is actually inherited judgment according to what I teach. And when we are spoken to in a certain way and we're told information, or for those of us who are intuitive and very aware and sensitive and receptive, I can actually feel the thoughts that other people think of me internally in my own body. So for me, I had inherited all these judgments about what made me bad, wrong, and unworthy. And so as I've really developed this ability to recognize that it was an inherited idea, that it did not originate, it was not native or indigenous in my internal world, that gave me the ability to then identify it and cast it out. And women are impeccable gardeners, right? We know that we've got to do that weeding. And so there's so many modalities that allow us to weed. That is the rebirthing process, where it's 4 embodiment practices that I teach to help women shed ideas that may be 10, 20, 30, 50 years old that they've moved from. And with the Resonant Truth Archetype system, there's this point of contact where someone's reflecting the beauty and the wonder of who you are. So those things combined, the rebirthing with the Resonant Truth Archetype profile system, it's just women are suddenly like, oh my gosh, I can just completely let that go and cast it out. And then they get confirmation from life that they are the thing that they wanted to believe, or that life can be more easeful, or things can go well for them, or they can connect with the kindred that really appreciate them, Odilia.
Absolutely. And I think shame is, man, I feel like we just wake up in the morning and it's just everything around us just makes us feel bad about ourselves, make us feel shameful. And we have nothing to be ashamed about. We are, especially in today's day and age, women are juggling so many things, and we should be proud and not ashamed.
I agree completely. And that is not, it's a message now. I feel like we're really moving into an era of feminine power, and I just see it reflected everywhere, and it's shaking everything up. And I'm really excited because that sense of, heat that flushes to the surface, and the constriction and the mental judgment, and those immediate compulsive thoughts that can be there as we first wake up or as we're just going to sleep, telling us how wrong and bad we are. Once we can understand that that was intentionally placed within us, right, to be able to stifle our knowing. For me, women are meant to be leaders in this world. We are the ones who create life, and we are meant to protect life. And that threatens, right, the systems of control that have taken over for a time. And this great dismantling that's happening can be supported by us as we trust and back our knowing to do our small part collectively. That is just going to absolutely create a completely new environment for everyone.
Absolutely, definitely. So for a woman who's listening now, who's standing on the edge of a big decision, whether they want to leave a relationship, a religion that they no longer resonate with, or a career that no longer fulfills their needs or their purpose, what do you want her to know?
That a woman connecting with her sacred no is the most powerful way to create a life that really nurtures her. We've been conditioned to nurture and give so much to creating life that we forget we're meant to be 50-50, nurturing and creating what we want and denying and depriving something of life. And no is so confronting for all of us because there's this expectation for us to always be the goodly, perfect, endlessly compassionate mother archetype to, everyone. But, if we have this ability to say, no, this career is unacceptable, this boss is unacceptable, this relationship is unacceptable because it hurts me, harms me, makes me small. And we've already gone through the due course of asserting our needs and setting up boundaries and delivering consequences, as I did with my birth family. Once that goes unheard and you're 6 years in, you go, no, that's enough. And in the no, within 30 days, something that is more resonant and true will actually drift into your life. And we're not taught this. We're taught that, you're making someone else feel bad. You're putting other people down. You're harming other people by saying no. But when we're on that precipice, you can realize what you can boldly say no to. You will be simultaneously magnetically attracting what it is that you're secretly already saying yes to in that same moment.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Everything's about energy, right? So when you start putting that energy out of what you will and won't accept, it just, then the universe gets the message and starts sending you what you will accept, and more of that and less of the no's.
Yes.
Love that. Love that. So if you could, looking back on your life, if you could go back to your younger self and give her some advice, what would that be?
That the privilege to suffer in this life actually leads us home to the deeper sense of belonging. And most of my 20s and 30s, I was running so fast away from everything that really hurt and harmed me. And all of the parts that I deeply admire and respect in myself now were procured in that time. And the words I was given, that we become the substance of our absence. So whatever neglect, whatever wasn't present for us, all of us, no one on the planet got everything that they needed, particularly women. And so whatever we don't get, we then procure that, whether it's kindness or compassion or mercy or miracles. And then we become this portal, this open door, not only to bestowing that to ourselves ceaselessly, but then generously bestowing that upon everyone that we meet. And I feel so fortunate for the excruciating suffering that I moved through so that I could know this level of grace and this level of self-devotion.
It's a beautiful thing to be able to look back and see how far you've come and see how you've grown and the lessons you've learned and who you've essentially become because of those lessons. Thank you. That's a beautiful message. So tell us about the free resources you're offering, and where listeners can find you.
Well, I am making it a gift for anyone to find out what is their resonant truth archetype. I mean, 9 years of my life, I've just given so much to this, and I have found a way to have people just input their birth date, and there's no capture on that information, and it will automatically show them which of one of the 9 archetypes they are. And for you, it's this wise teacher, but there's the intuitive innovator and the compassionate listener and the brave warrior, the gentle guide, the master problem solver, the sacred sovereign, the noble visionary, the wise teacher is next, and then the heart leader. And that, even the words, people hear it and they're like, oh my gosh. And so from there is actually a reading for the energy of this year in your business. For anyone who is really on purpose in their sacred work, being able to get that guidance is like immediate access to expanding your prosperity, which is my devotion in this world. So both of those are 2 free gifts, and it is with all of the joy in my world that everyone knows this. So I raise my children according to this. My marriage is based off this. I know all of my friends. I've studied most of the famous, influential people in the world. And if there was one thing I think every human really deserves, it's the privilege to have this confirmed so that they can truly trust and move from their truth.
Amazing. And we can put the links for that in the show notes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, amazing. Perfect. So anybody who would like to work with Leela, please head on to the show notes and you can find all the information in there. And thank you so much for today. This has been such a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for my reading. I've loved talking to you today, and yeah, I wish you all the best and all the success to continue growing and helping women.
Thank you. You're such a gracious host, and I feel so fortunate that you were receptive and willing to bestow me the trust to really reflect some of these pieces about you. You are completely on path, and I feel so excited that your community has a very powerful leader at the forefront who is taking them right into this awakening of the privilege of being at this sacred time in our lives. Thank you for all you do, Odilia.
Oh, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. That was Leela Black, Business Resonance Guide and founder of Feminine Business Resonance. And she was walking us through her Resonant Truth Archetype reading and her 4-stage business rebirthing process. Now, if today's conversation about intuition, shame, and feminine authority resonated with you, Leila is offering 2 free resources. Discover your own Resonant Truth Archetype and receive a guided reading on the energy of 2026 for your business. Links to both, along with Leila's website and social media, are all in the show notes. You know where to go. And this is another reminder that season 4 of the Midlife Awakening launches in September. And in that season, you're going to be able to watch practitioners like Leela give live readings right here on the show. So make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening so that you don't miss it. And the Midlife Awakening is now also available on YouTube. So now you can watch the videos if you like watching videos. Now, as always, if this episode has helped you, share it with a woman in your life who needs it and needs to hear it, and leave us a rating or review, because it really, really helps the show get reach and to reach other women who are navigating midlife, intuition, and reinvention. Let's build this community together. Now, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week for the next episode of the Midlife Awakening. So until next week, take care of yourself, take care of your heart, and remember, it's never too late to begin again. Bye for now.